Hey there, everybody. It's Nikas. I thought I'd actually start tonight's little finding my way home video with a prayer, and this is my daily prayer that I say, and just thought I'd throw it out there into the universe and let it be heard. So it goes something like this. God, please show me the truth today in every situation that I encounter, whether it be up here, whether it be out there. Please show me the truth and give me the courage and the strength to always turn towards that truth you show me. Just because I see the truth doesn't mean I always want to do it. And the second part of the prayer is, and God, please give me moment-to-moment consciousness throughout this day. A real-time sense of awareness that I can live and reside right here, right now, where my life's actually happening. Where I have an opportunity to see when my cuckoo crazy head is trying to hijack me from right here, right now, and take me off to the magical, mythical world of what's not happening, where anything I think is true, because over there in cuckoo crazy land, anything I think is true, because it's not happening here, it's not happening right now. And then I say, please show me who to help, how to help, and when to help, and give me the words to speak your message. Tell me what to say, how to say it, and when to say it. And of course, God, always tell me when to shut the fuck up. So that's been my prayer for a number of years now, and 13 to be exact. And I gotta say, it's been really, that prayer unto itself, I think I call it the prayer of awakening. So, awakenedness, living an awakened life, really is living in truth, being able to recognize truth when it's happening in the crazy head, or when it's happening in front of us, and it's not being interpreted through the crazy head, but I'm able to just see truth and experience truth and live truth. And the second part of being here right now is being able to experience truth consciously in this moment, as life is happening. Because truth doesn't happen yesterday, and truth doesn't happen tomorrow, or truth doesn't happen 5 minutes ago, and truth doesn't happen in 10 minutes. Truth happens right here, right? And so in order for me to be able to experience truth and live in truth, I got to be present. So I don't know about you, but I've had a hard time being present in my life, being present in my meditations. So what I've found out is that since, there's an expression, God can do for you everything that you can't do for yourself, or are having a hard time doing for yourself, I just took that and thought, okay, well, you know what? I'm going to ask to stay in the moment, because, if my mind is trying to keep me in the moment, first of all, we know where that's going to go, right? So it's my mind, it's my thinking. My thinking is a self-activity, and I'm trying to do a self-activity to get a self-result, to keep self in control. When in actuality, when I'm living present, when I'm living in this moment, self kind of has to take a back seat, because self often has a narrative that's other than what's happening. So when I am living in the now and living in truth, self doesn't really have much to do. So I've learned that might as well just ask for this awakened state. So that prayer was literally given to me when I was like, okay, I need, this is what I need. I need to remember to pray, and I need words that are organic to me. And so those organic words that came out of me was literally praying for the state of awakening. So hopefully that's helpful or useful or something on your journey as well. So a little update. So I am 100% enrolled now in hospice, and I'm no longer seeking outside medical care. So all my other doctors, I don't have a primary care anymore. I have a hospice doctor, and everything is going to be done through hospice now. I don't know if you can see up there on the wall there. It's a little pink. It's a little pink piece of paper that I'd move the camera, but then it'll start to wiggle. But that little piece of paper is what an EMT would look for when they come into the house, because I'm do not resuscitate, do not DNR, DNI, do not intubate. Basically, I'm not looking for life extension at this point. So everyone that's close to me knows, do not call 911. Right? This is the time where call the hospice people, because hospice is going to deal with things now going forward, not 911, not hospitals. Excuse me. Because this is the end. This is what it looks like to not try to manipulate my health to have life extension in any way. This is what it looks like to just be ready to go, and I'm ready to go. As I've mentioned before, I don't see that as a giving up in any sort of way, shape, or form. It's just sort of like a recognition of reality. So reality is that this being is on his way out, and so rather than fight that reality in any sort of way, I'm just going to go with it and trust that that the universe, that God has got my back, and that everything will go as per plan. I've learned that the divine plan is really the only plan there is. I mean, I can have these alternate route plans that just end up just being cul-de-sacs. It's not super mega highways anywhere, but it's just silly little cul-de-sacs in my head. So everything now is hospice. Everything now is comfort care. I'm still doing pretty well. I do have now oxygen, which I've got an oxygen thing that I can wear here at home. I don't need to wear it when I'm not actually physically doing anything, but I've noticed that even like washing dishes or cleaning up, straightening up around the house takes a lot out of me, and oxygen is, oh my God, it's a godsend, because it just gives you that little extra pep in your step to get things done. So that's a lovely thing. All of my medications that are life extending, their hospice is really good though. It's like, so like my HIV I can still take my HIV meds, because I'm not looking to, trust and don't worry, the leukemia is going to do its job. But rather than all of a sudden have a viral load going up from HIV or the heart lung thing that I got, I'm only on one medication for that. So I'm just gonna let the leukemia do the leukemia thing, and sort of stay on these other, but so no more chemotherapy at all. That's all complete. And so now it's just comfort care and just making sure that I'm not in any sort of pain. As you guys probably remember from my last video, where things were I was really stuffy and and a really sore throat. That's kind of gone, but unfortunately, since nobody wanted to write me just a simple codeine cough syrup, I had to take a lot more pain meds than I would, actually hydrocodone, which is Vicodin, which it's I had to take quite a bit more of those to quell the pain enough that I could eat and drink and, you know, live a somewhat normal life. So I'm taking more than those than I was, you know, a few weeks ago. But that's just how things ended up. So, and you know, at this point, it's not about trying to reduce that. At this point, it's kind of like knowing that, okay, so you're on a certain amount of these a day, and it's only going to get increased. There is no decrease anymore. So, and I'm totally okay with that. You know, that's just part of this hospice process. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at as far as life. I can still get around. I'm still mobile. I can still do my own stuff. I can still run to the store. I can still, but you know, I'm noticing that there is a change is happening. You know, with this like shortness of breath. I mean, it's kind of pretty significant. So just noticing and just like, oh, look at that. Okay. So yeah, that's the first thing I'm noticing about this process, how this process is going to unfold. You know, in the last video I talked about the invitation, you know, the invitation to let go for myself. And then one of the things I talked about was the invitation to ask questions, you know, for others to actually ask questions, you know, and I did not Skype, but a Zoom interview with some good friends of mine, Milena and Rama from Los Angeles, and where they just kind of, it was a sort of interview that included the questions from the motorcycle accident that I was in, and this whole shift in consciousness that happened at that point, and how all that arrived me at this point. And so I'll actually post that I haven't actually posted that yet up on I'll put it here at Anonymous Buddha, and I'll also put it on my Facebook page. But that was a sweet interview. But you know, one of the things that Milena asked me, she says, was, you know, how does one learn to ask good questions? Because kind of the dialogue was going in such a way that where I said, you know, questioning people really is it's the only way you can really find out what's true. Otherwise, you're sitting back and just making assumptions. But it's also a way of kind of finding out where somebody's at, and then if you find out kind of where they're at, it's kind of like in an interesting place. We'll use that word, interesting. You can kind of question them, kind of back towards reality, with a series of questions that can perhaps get them to have an aha moment, you know, without telling them, you know, pulling out their finger and saying, well, you know, this is what I think, and what I think is, you know, da da da. But rather just simply question them and find out where they take that, and see if that's true for them too. So, you know, I might have a thought about something, but if that's not true for the other person, that's just not true. It's just a thought in my head that has a certain amount of weight that I give to it. But you know, I know that not everything I think is the quote the truth. So anyway, so Milena was asking, you know, how do you practice asking good questions? And I thought, you know, that's a great question to ask. And you know, and the reality is, I think there's a term I often use where it's kind of like losing your balance to find your balance. You know, sometimes it's like, sometimes you got to get it wrong in order to learn how to get it right. It's kind of like when you're learning to ride a bicycle. You'll ride for a little bit and you'll fall over. You'll ride for a little bit, boom, you fall over. But after a bit of time of just, you know, applying yourself to learning how to do this exercise called riding a bike, you, after a bit of time, learn how to find the balance. And the balance is just that sort of middle way, just that you know, it's not too much this, it's not too much that, it's just kind of this nice middle way. And I think that learning to ask good questions is the same way. You know, nobody comes out, you know, straight out of the gate asking great questions, but the only way that you're going to learn is by asking and then seeing, you know, actually using your intuition and using your sight of how another person is reacting, whether that be in a way that's kind of like, you know, if they kind of go like that, and you're like, oh, maybe I need to retemper my question, or just learn that, okay, that wasn't it. But yeah, like the only way that you really learn how to ask good questions is by actually asking them, you know, by going through the process of not being afraid to ask and ask, you know. I mean, you can always preface with, you know, may I ask this question that might come across odd. I you know, this is new for me. This asking questions in this realm is maybe new to me, and I want to just make sure that you understand that I'm trying to learn, and you know, just simply saying something like that and sort of giving yourself a good runway to start with, I think is always no matter how good you get with questions, it's a great way to sort of open the floor for dialogue, for questioning. And then I think the other thing is you know, also learning how to listen, how to actually, you know, turn this off to the best of your ability, and actually listen to what somebody else is saying, and by actually hearing them informs me on what I might ask next, and so in order for me to learn something absolutely new, absolutely fresh, I have to be able to listen without my mind's interference. So, you know, if my mind is trying to jump 2 steps ahead to get, you know, like 2 questions ahead, or you know, rather than just actually listening to what the person is saying, then I know that my mind is kind of, it's on busy mode. And so learning how to just, you know, just take that breath and listen, right? So the only way I'm going to learn something brand new and fresh is if I can hear what that person is saying without the lens of me. So if what they're saying comes in and then goes through the lens of me, that means it's going through this sort of thick, you know, mesh of what I've learned in my life, what I think, sorry, I had an alarm go off. I need to go pick up some meds. So if I'm listening to that person speak, but I'm listening to it through the mesh of my mind, you know, the mesh of my mind is all the things that I've learned in my life, all of the things that I believe, all of my preconditioned. So they're saying something, but then it's going through the lens of me, which sometimes could be really thick, and I don't actually hear what they're saying, because what they're saying, I'm hearing what they're saying through this thick, you know, glass of what I think, what they think. And so really, in order for me to hear something absolutely fresh and brand new, and to actually learn something new, I have to learn how to quiet this thing down to the point where I can actually hear something that I've not heard before, you know, I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to find out something, rather than, you know, constantly going through the lens or the mesh or the thick glass of my thinking. So Yeah, so I don't think there's any one way to learn how to ask questions, but I think it is very important to learn how to listen, to quiet this guy down, and just be able to listen to what somebody's saying, right? And in that process of listening and actually hearing new things, then if I learn how to follow my intuition will guide me on what to ask next. I don't have to worry. I'm not busy thinking about it. I'm just listening. And then all of a sudden, intuitively, boop, a question will pop up, right? Where did that question come from if it didn't come from here? You know, that question comes from, the place of creativity, the place of, of the unknown, the place of the divine. But it's like when I'm doing something creative, hairstyle wise, that I've never done before, where does that come from? It just comes from this infiniteness, and suddenly it's happening through me. And so if I can use that same sort of analogy to describe my intuition when it comes to questioning, well, how do I know what I'm going to ask? I don't. I just sit back, turn this off, turn this on, and then suddenly every now and then a question will pop up, and then I follow that, and then based upon somebody else's reaction, I can feel this. This body is a feeling mechanism. It tells me, whether or not I'm in the ballpark of if my questioning is going in the right direction. So yeah. So thank you, Melena, for that amazing question, and I thought that would just be a great thing to add into this video, because it's part of these videos is about me updating where I am on my journey home, and part of it's just sort of part of these videos is is imparting a little bit of the wisdom that's been gifted to me, just putting it out there for others to sort of see if that fits for you. So thanks for going through this journey with me. I'm so happy that those of you who are going through it with me are. This is just a public thing it's come up this way, and here we go. So have a blessed day.